So, in terms of performance management, this is very, very interesting. We talk about the law of restricted performance. What happens here is you've now become from salesperson to sales leader as a promotion, and you're responsible. So then you discover that the salespeople are actually conditioning your expectations. You've got to hit certain targets, and they're telling you, boss, it's a jungle out there. Oh, competition's just incredible. The economy, look at it. And so your expectations are getting taken down. And so you start to see them as basically down here, not up here. So what do you get as a result? Mediocrity. So it's very important as a sales leader that you don't get into that cycle. You've got to keep challenging your salespeople. They'll tell you 1,000 reasons why it's never going to happen. But unless you keep challenging them, you're only going to get a mediocre outcome. It's a very difficult thing to do that, but you've got to keep thinking, I'm sure they can do 20% more. If you only just keep that one sentence in your mind every time you're dealing with salespeople as a sales leader, you'll do much better, because then your expectations are up here. And they will come up to your expectations. But boy, they're going to take their time, and they're going to kick and fight and bitch and carry on all the way up, because that's how salespeople operate. And by the way, they're fantastic at it because they're so persuasive. That's why you employed them. These people are persuasive. They're believable. They're good at this stuff, right? Be careful about them being too good at this stuff. Okay. So when we have mistakes, and this is interesting, we ask people to be innovative. We ask people to step up. We ask people to take responsibility, particularly step up and do new things. But by definition, we will fail in things that are new, or we will have less success in things that are unfamiliar for us. We have to have some margin for these people to fail. If you ask people to take ownership, sponsor a project, run the project, and they make a mistake, something goes wrong, and you just come down on them so hard and criticize them, complain about what's happened, and this is unbelievable, what are you thinking? Guess what? You've just cancelled their innovation ticket for the rest of their life. They'll never put up a suggestion ever again, because the penalty of failure is too high relative to the rewards of success. You just kill their innovation right there. So how we handle mistakes is very, very critical. And you see it here. We start with research. What actually happened? Not what you were told happened, or what people who report to you imagine happened. Actually, what happened? And then in the conversation, we start with rapport. Because if there's been a problem, do they need to know there's a problem? It's very rare that someone, when there's been a mistake, doesn't know there's a mistake. Hey, guess what? This is not new information from them. They know there's been a mistake, so they already feel bad. And they're expecting to get hammered by the boss, because that's how we've all learned. That's how we were educated, unfortunately. Don't be that type of educator. Why not start with building some rapport? Tell them how valuable they are to the organization. If they make one mistake or a big mistake, they're still valuable to the organization. I remember a story, I think it was Lee Iacocca. I might have the names wrong now, but one of his executives lost a couple of $1 million through a particular project. And the guy goes to his office expecting to be fired. And he says, "Fire you? We just spent a couple of $1 million educating you." Different way of looking at it, you see. So start with, they're valuable to the organization. You appreciate that they stepped up. You appreciate that they do good work. Not everything is 100% failure. There's 99% probably working. Recognize those parts, build the rapport, make them feel comfortable. Second point there is you reference what's happened. Then at that point you get the reaction. Are they in denial? Or are they, yes, sorry, I made a mistake. So depending which way we go, if they can relate, then you restore your trust in them, you reassure them, and maybe they might need training, or you're trying to keep that person. Okay? We just educated you, spent a lot of money educating you with this mistake. You've learned from that. You're going to be a better manager, a better operator as a result. If they're in denial, then you're going to go a different way, which you're going to restate very clearly for them what's happened and the ramifications. There's probably going to be a reprimand in there around their performance and potentially affect their remuneration, their bonus, etc. And then if they still don't get it, then maybe there's no longer a place in the organization for them, because their motivation or their commitment is such that it's not sufficient for the organisation. Now, this next slide is a bit busy in the sense of it's a build, but it refers to each of these problems and it relates one of the principles that you'll see in the Golden Book that you've got there. So the first one there is rapport, and it says begin with praise and honest appreciation. Now, often conversations don't begin with praise, especially when there's been a mistake. It's usually straight into what happened in the mistake. Begin with praise and honest appreciation. Build that rapport. That's how you build it. You tell them what's good and what they need to do better, or recognize things they're already doing well. Then the next stage, as you see, we get in here to the reference and relate. So we're trying to look at calling attention to mistakes indirectly. They know there was a mistake. Hey, you made a mistake. This is not helpful information. Okay, so you don't put it right in their face. You try and talk about it indirectly. Second one there is, are you perfect? Did you never make a mistake in your career? Isn't that not how you got knowledge? Is that not how we've all learned everything we know that works by doing it the wrong way? So you talk about yourself. So you show them that, hey, you know what? I understand. Yeah, I've done that too. I remember when in my career, your stage, I made mistakes too. It's not a life-threatening problem necessarily. And then ask questions instead of giving orders, because once you give the order, you own it. Once you ask a question and they answer it, they own it. And what you want is ownership on their part, not on your part. So we move on to the next stage. We relate the next principles. So here we're talking about resistance, or we've got to restate it, or we've got to restore. So let the other person save face is a very oriental idea, which I'm just amazed that Dale Carnegie in early part of the 1900s could actually take that into New York, where he's based, and get New Yorkers to go for that. I don't imagine that New Yorkers ever cared about anyone's face ever, but he was thinking about how do you build a relationship. So there's been a mistake, but you've still got a relationship. Where's that trust? Where's that communication? How do you get them buying the vision? How do you get them working well again? So let them save it. And after that, praise the slightest improvement. Don't save it up for a rainy day that when there's a really big thing happening, I'm going to tell you it's great. Small things get picked up, and that's motivating. Oh, it's not a big thing, but it's a small thing, but you're recognized. Do you feel good about that? And then finally, give the other person a fine reputation to live up to. If I think you're rubbish and you're not very good, I'm going to talk to you and approach you in a certain way. If I think you've got great potential and there's been a blip, a mistake, and I think you can grow much further, I'll approach you in an entirely different way. And in fact, my approach will determine how you're going to turn out. Because if I think you're no good, you're going to be no good. If I think you're great, you're probably going to be great. So we have got so much power as a leader in determining the outcome of that person. This principle, give them a fine reputation to live up to, is a good one. See them as positive. See them as potentials who've got greater growth opportunity. And then we get into reassure and retain here. So use encouragement, make the faults seem easy to correct. Okay, break it down, what went wrong, yes, how can we fix that? And then finally, make the other person happy about your suggestion in this part. If you tell someone something, you own it. If you ask a question and they answer it, they own it. And through this process, they go into a stage of self-discovery. So rather than you giving them the answer, they find the answer themselves. They believe it a lot more, it's more credible for them, and they remember it forever. So self-discovery as an educational process is vastly superior to just telling people information through lecture or through advice. So rather than being an expert in advice giving, try and be an expert in bringing out questions to get self-discovery. And then here we have the reprimand and replace, and it says here, as you'll see in the 30 principles, use all of them, because this is people skills, and this is where, if they are going to leave the company, you want it in a way that is not acrimonious, destroys the motivation of other people, creates any sabotage problems, or influences that person's ability to move on and want to move on and be confident to move on and do something else, because obviously this hasn't worked out.